Roddy Turnstone is a Harrisburg-based indie rock artist. His new single, I've Been to This Dungeon Before, is an epic, moody, but catchy piece of music that features guest vocals from Jessica Boyer and violin from Robin Chambers. Out now on all streaming platforms. Hello, everybody. My name is Corey Rosen, and you're listening to the Story Podcast. Today, I have on a super awesome guest, Mr. J.C. Fetlock.
Hello, Corey. Thank you.
Of course, born in 1952 in Hagerstown, Maryland, J.C. Fetlock's first musical instruction was from his mother in the front seat of the car, telling him to shut up while he was singing. J.C. then picked up the flute in fourth grade, influenced by Motown sound, James Brown, Temptation, Smokey, and the Beatles. JC was hooked on rock and roll and has been ever since. After high school, JC hitchhiked around the U.S.A. for 3 years. He got a Kappa guitar in D.C. pawn shop for only $25 and had a cheap flute. He would find bamboo and make and sell bamboo bongos for fun and profit, then go whichever way his ride was going. Hitchhiking showed him all sorts of people, places, and music. This led JC to finding a genuine Indian guru, which changed his life forever. He's met people from all over the world, all kinds of music. JC has always wanted his music to contain light, love, nature, and laughter. JC has ran countless open mics, jam sessions, and has mentored many young musicians, including Trey Alexander. Oh my goodness. Currently, JC is working in a program for Music for Everyone that gets U.S. veterans who have written words to team up with musicians and make songs out of their experiences. They spend a year working on it, then put on a show on Veterans Day at the Ware Center. JC also has a band that writes all original music, full of a bunch of old dudes like himself, called Wild Self. His latest album is called Love Bomb and has some of the best musicians that he knows of on it, and it is a statement of the great Lancaster producers, mixers, and masterers. And there is a lot more to come. JC, how you doing today?
Wow, I'm doing great, Corey. Thank you for having me here today. This is fun.
Of course, man. So, tell me, obviously you were singing at a very young age for your mother to say, "Hey, shut up! I need to pay attention here."
I don't know if it was technically singing. I think it's a pretty common thing for the kid to be in the back seat
Just babbling.
and the adults in the front. Yeah. Yo.
Yo, come on.
Yeah.
So when did stuff start getting serious for you in regards to music? You picked up a flute in fourth grade. Surely it wasn't your pan flute that you use now.
No, I tell you what, I actually have a memory of where I hadn't yet seen like a guitar or a piano or anything yet, and hearing music and somehow really going, "What is that?" And I want to do that, but I didn't even know how you did it,
Mhm.
And that's being really, really young when you have a memory, a thought like that. But it started then.
So you take your flute in fourth grade and you go in the band.
The everybody else was in fourth grade.
Right? Yeah, of
you know?
course. Yeah,
Yeah. Mary Had a Little Lamb, John Philip Sousa,
that must have been great. John Philip Sousa at that time because that's
or
when
whatever.
it was popular.
I wonder what we did play. I don't actually recall. I mean, I remember getting on the stage in front of all the other grade schoolers and playing Mary Had a Little Lamb and some other similar thing.
I'm sure it sounded great.
And I don't, yeah, it was probably mind melting. It was so good. No, I remember just doing it. And when I look back on it and you see what a fourth grader sounds like,
So when do you take it to the next step of, this is something I can do. I want to actually do.
you hear this all the time from people who are like famous and making hit records and everything. But when you saw Elvis on TV and I saw the Beatles, I'm the age where when the Beatles were on TV for the first time, I was in like eighth grade, and it was like
You witnessed the British invasion.
we didn't know what a big deal it was. We just really, really liked it. You know what I mean?
right.
I mean, you can't put it in terms like I knew history. Yeah, you didn't know anything. It was just like this was cool. It was the first thing in my world that was like really cool or something like that. Was the not just the Beatles, but the whole. I mean,
The whole scene.
because I was in the like Motown before the Beatles,
Oh,
and
okay.
even the Monkees. I like the Monkees better than the Beatles till like a certain point, you know.
So when did you decide that's something? Is that when you decided in eighth grade that you like I want to do that?
Just
I want to be a rock
you
star.
know, you didn't. I didn't think of things like my future self and what I was going to do for a living and what I want to do. I just would sing along with it and
Mm,
enjoy it, and it was my number one. Well, I was also into like fishing and nature and sports and stuff too, but music was a big one.
so did you start writing stuff at that point, or did you?
First time I remember writing stuff, I was probably in 10th grade, and that's when I made up the name JC Fetlock.
Mm,
In fact, it started out CJ Fetlock, and it was about I used to draw comics, like comic strips. And I just thought, Pat Coon, that's not the name for a comic. You know, this is a 10th grade ego here. It's the year for those doing arithmetic, it's 1968 when I became JC Fetlock. In the beginning, it was CJ. And then I went a while without using it and I forgot and I did something and it became JC just out of,
mhm.
forgetfulness. No one ever called me CJ, but people started calling me JC. And I can't explain it, but I'm 71 now, and they still call me JC, and it doesn't really mean anything, you know?
That's really funny. It's just
Yeah,
the alter ego you made up as a kid, and you're
yeah.
like,
And just because I thought my real name didn't sound appropriate to be a comic strip artist, because I
Mhm.
thought maybe before music, I thought maybe I'd be a comic, guy in the newspapers with my comic every day.
That's really fascinating.
Yeah, I had characters and everything that I used to draw all the time and everything. And I don't remember exactly when I quit doing it, but music took over.
Yeah. How did it take over? In what ways? You started,
I
you
think the first time I got on a stage and actually sang with a band, uh, it changed my focus.
so
But
when
the
was
thing about
that?
drawing, you can
Oh,
just
the
sit
draw.
there. You can be in your room and nobody has to talk. You don't have to have other musicians. And I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No, no, it's good. I'm saying, when was the first time you stepped on stage? Was it your own band, or was it just a cover band, or what were you doing at that time?
I went to Milton Hershey School. Did I already
Okay.
say that? I know you know from reading my thing. I don't know if we've said it today, but you live there. You don't live at home. You actually live at Milton Hershey School. And we had this one day a year called Mother. It's at Mother's Day where we have an assembly in high school, and it's like a talent show, and our parents are actually there, and that doesn't happen ever except that day. And I got up there with my classmates, and we did. The Unknown Soldier by The Doors,
Mm.
and it was horrible. I mean, it was worse than my 4th grade flute renditions. And, maybe it wasn't that bad because they all applauded, and it filled the room with the sound of applause, and that feeling right there where it was my job at that moment to take the microphone stand and put it for the next act somewhere. And I remember when I was doing that going, "Wow," that. And yeah, you hear that a lot from people.
Yeah, thank God for parents that would support their kids no matter how they sound.
Yeah, that's who's to blame, everybody, right there.
So you started writing your own songs in 10th grade, you said it was?
Yeah, and back then, I wrote this whole fake album. It was based on, what I saw The Who do with Tommy, and I made up this whole thing about a Vietnam guy like me, but he got drafted, went to Vietnam, and I forget what all happened, but, every song was about that. I remember one being about the M16 and leaving home, the scary things of war,
Right.
and, I had this imaginary band. I drew a album cover. In fact, the album cover was we took drafting, which was supposed to be mechanical drawing, where you draw a house and all. And instead of doing what I was supposed to, I drew my fake album cover for the fake band and failed the project.
Who cares, right? School was never meant for creative people anyway.
I did all right in science.
Kind of have to do all right in science, or else you blow something up. So, you graduate high school and then you decide you want to hitchhike. Is that what happened, or when did you decide to like travel the country?
I think that was a product of being a student of Milton Hershey. You kind of live in a bubble.
Mm,
And you really don't know the real world. You see it on TV and hear it on the radio and read the newspaper, but your whole world is based on getting up in the morning. You're in this, well, you have a home, but it's part of the school. Like in my world, we get up, milk cows, go to school, come home, work, do your homework, go to bed. You know,
it's kind of fun.
we
But
had to,
also-
and when I look at today's kids and I hear some of the things they complain about, I remember that when I was a kid, we'd get up and before we could go do our chores, our real chores, we had to dust our room and make our beds and everything had to be in its place and neat.
yeah, I complain about that. But I'm sure that I'm sure that's helpful because I wish sometimes I could do that. I could like automatically do that. So
Well, see, that brings us to the answer to
yeah,
your question. Part of the thing to want to go hitchhiking when I did was to sort of erase all that all that stuff from myself and undo everything that I had learned somehow. Become
I'm free.
yeah.
So tell me, what was that like? What were you at that point? Like an 18, 19-year-old?
I was probably 18 still, and I was going to college in Montgomery County, Maryland, Tacoma Park. And I was, there for a couple months. And one day I just decided I have never experienced the world. And I didn't realize it. It's sort of like changing my name to J.C. Fetlock. It's another one of those moments where if I could just, Pat Coon would have been a fine name for a comic strip artist. And living the life I lived, going to college and everything was an adventure. It was out of the bubble. It was, but my mind, I wanted to be some guy, let my hair go down to my butt, hitchhike all over the country and be free. And that's what I did.
You want to be a hippie? Just go around everywhere.
Yeah, but we didn't like that word.
No,
Nah, I think I consider myself a freak.
a freak.
Not a hippie.
That's better.
Yeah, somehow that was better. It shows you the logic of it all right there.
Right.
Hmm.
So, where'd you go? Where'd you go to hitchhike? I mean, at some point you went to DC and got a guitar. Where else?
No,
did you
that
go?
was because I actually lived in Bethesda.
Oh, I see.
And going into DC was I would hitchhike in there. Though. It did start by hitchhiking into DC and hanging out in there, but then how much detail do you want here?
Sure, it's a story podcast. Tell me the story.
All right, here's a little story. When I left home initially, I just got up, I packed everything I had into a duffel bag is. I mean, it was a big one from the service, from the Army. And I filled it with everything, even pillows in my album collection, like 18 records, my clothes. And I didn't have a dog, but that would have been in there if I did. And I just, instead of really going anywhere, just went from Bethesda to downtown Washington, D.C., to George Washington University and hung out and just lived there, like in the dorms and everything for, I don't know how long before it occurred to me, if I'm really going to hitchhike, I have to leave some point. Like, how can you miss me if you won't go away? And one day I went to my mom's house and unloaded 3/4 of what was in that duffel bag and took more of what would fit in an actual backpack. And then, let me think, the first place I went was Florida.
Mm.
I hooked up with an old friend and we went down to Florida and it was hard. It's hard to be a hitchhiker. I don't recommend it.
It's harder nowadays too with everyone on
Oh,
the.
I don't think you could do it at all today. Back then,
Yeah.
people were used to seeing some kid with his kind of shaggy hair out there with his thumb out and a guitar and two dogs, and they'd pick you up.
Yeah. Nowadays, I almost got ran over because I was trying to hitchhike back to my house, back to Mannheim, because my car broke down, and some guy like ran me off the road, like tried to swerve into me. I was like, dude, what the heck?
And not because he was stopping to pick you up. He
No,
was,
he was just trying to hit me and then ran away.
yeah. I ended up doing that for like more than 3 years, and I found people were more often than not friendly
Hmm.
everywhere you went. And I expected some trouble when I was like in places like Oklahoma or Texas or something. But you know what? The rock and roll long hair thing was happening everywhere.
Everywhere.
Everywhere I went, there was people who looked like me, with the bell bottoms and it looked like they were half asleep and stuff like
Right,
that.
right. And so, did you just go around playing music, or what did you do?
That was the goal, was to everywhere I went, I would find someone that knew how to play a little guitar. And then right then, I mean, I knew literally, I didn't know how to play guitar. I knew three chords, and it was A minor and C, which are basically the same chord, and G. So, and but
Play Simple
by the
Man.
time I got to California, I knew probably five chords,
Mm.
and a couple different rhythms. But the flute was, I had already been playing flute for 10 years by then, and I could keep up with the flute when stuff happened. And yeah, everywhere I went, there was someone that knew how to play a little guitar, some girl that knew how to sing, and there would be, I don't know,
That'd be it.
campfire or whatever you got.
So, did you do any writing over that period, or was it
I
just
was
jam
always writing.
sessions?
As a hitchhiker, I always took a journal book. It was like an artist's drawing pad, with the ring
Hmm.
binder and thick paper, and I had the kind of pen you have to dip into ink.
Right.
And I would write a little and then draw something and then make up a poem and then like that. And I kept a track of it.
Do you still have it?
No, because when I got married and had kids and everything, I kind of,
Threw it left behind.
got rid of a lot of my
Yeah.
artifacts of that lifestyle. But before I did, I read it, and I don't. If I gave it to you, you couldn't understand a word of it. It was just my writing style is not very cohesive. Let's just put it like that.
So, you managed to get around. You after what made you stop hitchhiking?
Well, in a way, I never did. I still Lancaster's a place I found while I was hitchhiking. I mean, you think because I went to Milton Hershey, it has something to do with that. Well, in a way, small way it does, but I never knew Lancaster or anything. I came here. There's another little story. I was hitchhiking around. I ran into an old buddy from Milton Hershey, Bobby Grubb. He was our class valedictorian. And he goes, let's go see this band. So we went to Neffsville and saw a band called Custard's Last Man. They were immense. Had horns and guitar, and they could do Chicago or Jimi Hendrix. It was amazing. This band, vocal power. I mean, they had three awesome singers, and it was just amazing. And I somehow talked my way into an audition, and man, I don't want to get into the whole story, but the whole thing that happened with Custer's Last Band made me sort of stop hitchhiking for a minute. And I stopped here. And when you do that, you have to get a job or something because you can't, as a hitchhiker, you're going to be someone's house maybe a day, 2 days, and you move on. Stay longer than that. You should have a job or something. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And that happened. But I kept hitchhiking. I'd get a job, but next winter it starts to get cold. San Diego. And then I met my wife, the woman who became my wife. I met her in San Diego, and she was kind of doing the same thing. There were a lot of us out there at the
Yeah, I'm
time.
sure California is the place where
Exactly.
you
It
do
was
that.
kind of the destination for anybody like myself who thought we'd go out there. And as soon as you get there, you're Jed Clampett becoming a millionaire, because, a little flute or guitar, you have a song you wrote or something. And all you do is meet other people who went out there for the same reason. They were just basically street urchins. But we didn't. I I should say we because it wasn't just me. It was a whole bunch of us. We didn't realize that we were not fulfilling our dream. We were doing what we were doing, and that was enough.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I went back and forth like 3 times from the East Coast to the West Coast, up and down the East Coast a couple times. And when when I met my children's mother, we ended up in Lidditz at Speedwell Forge. We actually lived where the wolf sanctuary is now. Before they had wolves there, that was my yard, and that's where we lived when my children were born.
Nice.
And I go there now, and they've got like 40 some wolves, and it's howling, and that was a nice place to live.
So I got to know what did your parents think of all this?
Well, I only had a mother because my
Mhm.
dad died. You have to have one or both parents dead to be at Milton Hershey.
I see.
So my dad died when I was 2. That's probably the reason I was so broken in my whole way of growing up, because then I was raised by Milton Hershey School, and living at Milton Hershey School, your mom's 200 miles away. She's not really the person who every day is going, "Why did you do that? And did you do your homework and all that? And here's dinner." And I didn't get that.
Mhm.
Milton Hershey was my mom that way. And so my mom became the person who comes and takes you away for vacation, and the person who comes up and visits you on a Saturday afternoon, and the hero. And she didn't get my normal 14-year-old wrath.
She's like, thank God, mom's here.
Yeah. She had a whole different role because Milton Hershey got
I don't want to do this.
when you turn 14,
Right.
it's like you know more than everybody else.
Oh, of course.
And
You're the smartest person
it
in the
doesn't.
room.
And if you're in a thing like I was, it becomes, well, it's Milton Hershey that I know more than, not my mom. Well, I guess I knew more than her too, but
But she's all right. She's cool.
tell you, it's like Mark Twain said, when you're about 21, you figure it out and you realize you're the idiot, not them.
That's cool, man.
Yes.
So you hit Lancaster. Roundabouts. When was that? 30 or something?
You mean when I
Age,
went to see Custer's Last Band?
or like when you settled around here? Or did you ever really settle around here?
Yeah, the first time I would say I kind of settled here would be, yeah, at Speedwell Forge that time. And no, I was probably like 22, 23.
Oh wow, this is really fast.
Yeah. It was like that's how the hitchhiking kind of moved into the next phase, which instead of hitchhiking, we would just move because we lived at Speedwell for, I forget, 3 years or something. Then we moved to La Crosse, Wisconsin. Then we moved to Minneapolis. Then me and the wife separated, and I stayed there for a while, came here, went back, became the weekend warrior dad instead of the mom and dad, lived that life. And all that affects your music, your
Of course.
everything.
So
Where's that leading?
I'm curious why Wisconsin? That seems out of left field.
My ex-wife was from Mankato, Minnesota,
Okay.
of Little House on the Prairie fame. And we decided to leave this area, and she wanted to move closer to her family. And I said, but I don't want to live where like your mom's in my living room when I come home from work for some reason. I look at that now. That's another moment where thinking Pat Coon's not good enough and becoming J.C. Fetlock, where I look at it now, it would be great to have the grandparents around close and everything. But for some reason, part of my mentality at the time was, no, man, we're us and we'll go visit them and they'll come here, but it's not going to be.
It's not a whole living situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is like the Howard Stern show, the way it is now, is where he psychoanalyzes everybody. But what fits into the weave of what we're talking about is within there. Before I got married and had the kids, I found a guru, which
Yes,
you
you
mentioned
mentioned
it.
that.
And I mean, he was a 12-year-old kid from India who had millions of people who would basically worship him. They would
Really?
kiss his feet, literally.
Wow.
And he taught this meditation that when I look back on it, my whole life today, what I learned from him, I consider still now to be the most important thing I ever learned.
Which is?
It, it's an inward meditation. You can learn to go all the way inside and see a light and hear music and have this experience that transcends like your daily life. And you got to focus in on it and everything. And to learn it back in the day, we thought, oh, he's some kind of, bow down before him and he teaches you thing. And there was this whole transformation where he started thinking that when he was taught to be that way from childhood. He was 8 when he became the guru. This is not off topic here,
Right.
and it's just going to take a while to get back to the thing. But at the time I started following him, and you learn these meditations, and I'm telling you, these meditations are real. That inside you, maybe you know already by some other technique you've learned to get there, you have a place inside you that where it's all peaceful. It's very calm. And if you're in a dark room, you can still see a bright light that beams. It's the core of every atom, what you get when you split the atom. And we're made of atoms. It's the cosmic whatever. But the second you have a thought of any kind, it goes away. So you have to clear your mind for however long you want to be there, which is pretty close to impossible.
Yeah, right.
But you can. And all right, back to what we're really talking about. I consider that to be something I still do virtually every day and try to put it into how I treat people and how I do my music and how everything is what I eat, everything. Now, when I followed him, that's what everybody thought. And we it's kind of like, he's God for teaching you that. And then when he gets to be, I don't know how old, he finally, and this is after I quit following him and going to the festivals and all that, and had a different kind of music going on, but still meditated. And he, as a human being, goes, you know what? I can't be what they've been telling me I am. I can't be a divine character. That's
Hmm.
impossible. And he became an alcoholic and started becoming a mean to his children and his wife, and somehow he passed through all that and became now what he is he's a guy who uses his real name instead of guru, whatever, whatever. His name is Prem Paul Singh Rawat. And he says, I can teach you this meditation that can really show you a peaceful place and you're going to love it. But you can learn it on the internet. You can learn it from a book. You can learn it from some other guy who calls himself a guru too. For me, it's free and I'll just show you. And that's that. And he dropped all the pretense of anything being
Spiritual.
spiritual about it. And man, I look at it now and I go, that that's kind of what happened to me 20 years ago with it, where I still meditate, but I don't do any of the trappings about it, worshiping anything or anybody about it. But anyway, how does this fit into this is where this part of my, I don't know, this might be totally ego, but to me, the whole purpose of being a musician is because there is that light. And when you play your music, it's in the music. And if you can touch someone else with the light and make them just for a second forget that today some horrible thing happened or they got cussed at or they were mad or someone else was mad at them or they lost something or just looking at the news or whatever there is to be upset about, all of a sudden they had a reason to laugh or go, wow, that was pretty cool or something like that, or clap, you know.
And so you do that nowadays. You work with music for everyone. Tell me a little bit about that.
This is an amazing project. I can't take any credit other than just being one little musician in this network of amazing stuff that goes on. And there's another organization called Right Face. And Right Face is the organization that's right there involved with the veterans. And it's like what it sounds like. Right is WRITE, Right
Mm.
Face. and it is specifically for veterans who have something to say. And, art's not necessarily the thing that's been jammed down everybody's throat all their life, especially maybe for a while it was being a soldier or being a, pilot or whatever. And now people have things to say and they have things they want to get off their chest. And here's this organization that comes along and goes, me too. And I didn't know how to do it. So I started doing this and then I did that. And now we have this. And people go, wow, that's cool. And every year it gets bigger. And so what the different veterans I've seen, they have so many different things to say. And it isn't always about some military thing or war or anything. Sometimes it's about going fishing. But you do get a taste of what some of the horrible things about being in different situations are.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll come in with these words and these thoughts and these feelings. And we got some just great people, Dave LaFever and Lisa Fairman and Scott Howard. It's just so beautiful. They take all this stuff and we'll have Native American music and hip hop and stuff I do. And at the end of the hour on Veterans Day, you feel like you have just heard so many different things, so many different points of view, so many important feelings.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And are you going to be involved in that this year?
Well, I think I am. We've been having classes for certain people who want to get involved, but they have no idea how to write a song. So we just had
Mm.
this Zoom every Wednesday night, a Zoom meeting where we get together, and there was it was kind of like a classroom where they gave us all an assignment, and every week you come back and do your assignment. And now we're in the sort of a more like a fermenting stage where people are taking that and writing their stuff, and soon we'll be getting back in touch with each other.
Writing music.
And by November, there will have been many practices and all kinds of things will have happened.
That'd be really cool. Be sure to check that out. What's the organization's name? Right Face?
Right Face is our Right Face is for the veterans who want to speak their mind, and then Music for Everybody, and
Takes that. And,
we're part of that. It's Music for Vets,
yeah.
and it's all on the internet. It's all part of under the MFE umbrella, so it's easy to find. And if there are any vets out right now that are hearing my voice who have ever even considered this, please get involved. I've said enough already, but Music for everyone, veterans.
And I'm sure it's very therapeutic to those guys too.
Yeah, you know it is.
So right now, you're currently working on a band, Wild Self, and you've got a few projects going on right now. You have Wild Self, you have Melissa Lianza and
Yeah,
yourself, and you got a jazz band as well.
I don't know if that's jazz. It's more like neoclassic or something like that.
Tell me about Wild Self, though.
Wild Self is Patrick White, who's a amazing bass player. Rick Kahn, who's I don't know what you might call a progressive stylist of a guitar player. Joel Abler, who's my buddy, reggae feeling ukulele guitar player singer, and myself. And I mean, we get gigs and we do things, but to me, it feels like how there's people they get together Wednesday night and play poker. Well, we get together Tuesday night and write songs and practice the songs we've already written.
Mm.
And that's what it feels like, just a bunch of friends that get together, and every once in a while we get play Moon Dancer Winery or somebody's party or something like that and get to show the world what we've been doing.
And is that the band that made Love Bomb, or?
No, Love Bomb
Oh,
is what happened with there is no actual Love Bomb band. I went in the studio, Chad Kinsey, bless you, Chad. He's having some health issues at the moment.
mm.
Um, he has studios and he was producing it. And as I would come in, I'd play my song, and we'd go, "Who do we want on this particular song?" And we sort of tailor made every song for. I would say it's our group of friends. It's people we both know, and we put the CD together one person at a time. Where I came in first, then the drummer came in, then the bass player came in, all pretty much separately, all the background vocals and everything. And there never was a band
Really?
until it came time to do the Longs Park gig. And then I got those same people, and we practiced a bunch of times so that we could actually go out there and do it together. And that's what Longs Park is. And we did that a couple of times. We did that at Tellus 360 too, where the band got together. And I love everybody in the band for doing it. And every one of them is just an awesome star in the
You're
Lancaster
right.
music scene on their own right. You know what I mean?
So tell me about the songwriting process. We have one of your, we have two of your songs. The first one being "I Need Your Love." What was the songwriting process on that? Was it you? Was it everybody? Was
No,
it?
I Need Your Love. All these songs are mine that I had to like train the band to do. And I Need Your Love is a song that it's the third set of lyrics over this thing where I wrote it one time and it had some words, I forget what they were. And I guess I dumped those words and made it this other song called Ice Cream Lady. And the Ice Cream Lady was like, I don't know, it was okay and everything, but I Need Your Love sort of grew out of it, and as it grew out of it, Ice Cream Lady became less and less and less. But in this version of it, I believe it does at the end kind of sneak in there a little bit, Ice Cream Lady, but then it goes back to I Need Your Love.
So with all that said, this is JC Fetlock's "I Need Your Love."
Sheep follow other sheep around, and snakes slither around on the ground. Cats will eat you if you don't feed them, and dogs can't help it, they're dogs. People, they're always fighting, brother against brother, and man against wife, nation against nation. It just ain't right. Tell me if you can, my friend, what would get into the heart of a man to make him forget your love, even for a moment? 'Cause I need your love, and you need my love. I need your love, and you need my love. I need your love. Trees, they spread their roots into the ground. They eat the dirt. They spread their leaves out to the sun. Provide us all with oxygen. It's like I need your love, and you need my love. I need your love, and you need my love. I need your and I need your love. That's all I need. Attention. It's getting stronger. What would I do with the ice cream lady? Yeah, the ice cream lady. 'Cause I can't promise we will be best friends. I can't guarantee that we will be lovers or partners in crime. Share the line. First she takes your money, then she breaks your heart. I'm coming to 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 get you, girl. Ooh yeah, coming to get you, girl. 'Cause I need your love, and you need my love. I need your love, and you need my love.
And that was JC Fetlock's I Need Your Love. Yeah, that sounds like an actual band, but you're telling me that it wasn't like that. You all recorded it one at a time.
Yeah, me first on guitar. Then we'd bring a drummer in, Paul Murr. Thank you, Paul. You did a wonderful job. Then we bring bass in. Every song has this in common, that Paul and Mike Bitts.
Mike Bitts.
Mike Bitts on bass, every song. And fantastic job from both of them. And there were more than just musicians. Both of them directed and did different things when we did the live versions and helped me with practices and all kinds of things, as long as Chad, too, as well as Chad. And then we'd bring in whoever we're going to have. Every guitar player might be different on each song, but
Right. Sweet. And so we have one of your live versions that you did at Longwoods Park. The car one. I can't remember the whole name of it.
That's my car.
That's my car. So tell me a little bit about that one, because that's a real story that you have.
Yeah, it's a story. I think I don't have to tell. If I tell you anything about it, it'll be like, it's in the song is what I'm trying to say. It's all there. I tell the whole thing.
Well, with all that said, That's My Car on JC Fetlock.
Live at Long Park.
Just the other day, in the middle of the night, my neighbor stuck her head in my door and she called my name out loud.
Jesse!
She said, man, your car's on fire. I walk up to my window. What do I see? That's my car. That's my car. That's my car. Feel the street, feel the heat, feel the night, like the sky. I thought at first, maybe I'm dreaming, and I'd wake up, just be screaming. Take another look, and then I knew it ain't no dream, it's true. That's my car. That's my car. That's my car. Feel the street, feel the heat, feel the night, like the sky. Now I can't really prove it, so I cannot mention names. The wrath of the jealous husband set my car in flames. He might have been a bullet through the middle of my brains, but that's my car. That's my car. Middle of the street, middle of the heat, middle of the night, night sky. Middle of the street, middle of the heat, middle of the night. Come on, dude, slide it on. Now, for those of you who do not realize the religious significance of this event, I'd like to explain it to you. This was no ordinary car. This was a real automobile. A 1972 Chevrolet Impala made of solid steel. I was amazed they could set this thing on fire, but they did. It was pea green and had a vinyl top. It was fast and it was quick. I'm telling you, I really love that car. I really love that car.
Really love that car.
It took me everywhere.
Took him near, took him far, took him everywhere he went.
I love that car.
Held the band and the equipment. He really loved that car. Yes, he really, really loved that car.
Yeah.
Took him near, took him far.
Now, while I got your
Took
attention,
him everywhere he
I'd like to introduce everybody up here.
held the band and the equipment.
This is Steve Sauer on the keyboards. And these beautiful singers I just interrupted. Jessica Smucker, who's obviously with child.
It's not JC's child.
Thanks for ruining everybody's image, Trix. I mean, it's Loretta. And that's Loretta, the comedian in the middle over there. Everybody loves Loretta. Trixie Griner here. On guitar, the fantastic guitar lead and mandolin, Matt Underhill. Way back there hiding from us, Ken McCoy on saxophone. And the electronic French horn. Right here, Mike Bitts on bass. Captain John Flavin way in the back. Joe Abler. My son Isaac disappeared. James Lipko on guitar. And last, because he held the whole thing together all night, Palmer.
He really loved that car. Yes, he really, really loved that car. Took him near, took him far, took him everywhere he went.
Thank you, everybody.
Cut the line down the equipment.
Farewell.
He really loved that car.
Bye-bye.
Yes, he really, really loved that car.
Bye-bye.
Took him near, took him far,
They love that.
took him everywhere he went. He held the band and the equipment.
Farewell.
And that's my car.
I hope everybody's awake.
So we're kind of running out of time here on the radio. If anybody has any questions to ask JC while we still have some time left, please be sure to comment them down below. We'll get around to them. These are questions I like to ask all my guests that I have on. So tell me, what is, out of all of your experiences, I mean, you brought together a bunch of musicians to work on your songs.
I'm glad we picked a song where I get to mention everybody.
Yeah.
Every one of you. You're not just musicians on it. You're my friends, and I love you. And that was fantastic hearing that today.
And it was really cool because I don't know if you saw this, but I'm starting up a similar thing, collaborative songwriting sessions where I'm getting all of my previous guests and whoever really wants to join us
Oh yeah.
to get together around here. We're gonna I'm not exactly sure of the format, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna write a song within an hour, and we're gonna have multiple different people from around the central PA, your country singers, your metal singers, your folk singers, your whatever singers, and songwriters and musicians. We're gonna come together, workshop hard for 1 hour on a song, and hopefully by the end of the year we'll have an album that of all people across everywhere working all together to make some new interesting music. So if you'd like to be a part of that collaborative songwriting,
I would.
well, I'll send you a link.
All right.
And you can go to CoreyRosenProductions.com. The Story Podcast is there. You can check out the links there, and that link will be up soon on that website, hopefully by today or tomorrow. If not, you can just DM me. I mean, most of these people know who I am. I'm Corey Rosen. You can find me on Facebook. You can just DM me, hey, I want to be a part of that, or go to the post on the Story Podcast and say, hey, I want to be a part of that. I'll send you a link, and we'll get that started. So for you, last questions that I have, what is one thing that you know now that you wish you had known when you first started your music career?
I don't think there's anything that I wish I knew. I think I knew everything back then. I just wish I practiced what I knew. You're set up in school. Your parents, everybody gives you all the right direction you need, and it's kind of up to you
Do it.
which way on the road you're going to go. Are you going to, keep your name or change it?
Well, that's so true. Because even like college students, they're given all of this. They're given, like, for me, I went to this school. I have all of this stuff at my fingertips that I all I have to do is ask. Yet I never asked until I'm now an alumni at the school, and I get to I ask, and they still let me use it, which is great.
Yeah.
But when you're going to some place, make sure you take advantage of where you're going.
Yeah. It's there's a concept I've become aware of recently called future self, and present self, and past self, and think now about the things you're doing to set up the future you with the right stuff.
Right. Because that's the thing. A lot of at least in America, people seem to lost is investment, long term planning. Because you can't be one of the best pianists in the world if you're not practicing 7 hours a week, or at least, right?
Yeah.
You can't get anywhere without putting the time in now. It's a large investment, and it's gonna suck, but it's gonna pay off. JC's like, yeah, I got nothing to add to that.
Yeah, well, yeah, I do. I'm thinking that it's like if I could look back on 14-year-old me, which it would be something like, you got to realize that all the things you're doing now, that's like who you're gonna be, and so you gotta take it serious. Learn. It's not like they're teaching you 1 + 1 = 2 just to take up time. You're gonna need that someday.
Right. Because soon enough, 2 + 2 = 4, and then 4 + 4 = 8.
All of it.
And it just grows exponentially from there.
Yes.
So make sure you learn, practice your basics.
Cross your T's, dot your Q's.
Right. Well, however it goes, right? So what you're killing it on the pan flute. Is there any more techniques that you want to learn, or anything more that you want to do at 71 years old? What is there more to do for you? What more do you
Oh,
want to
there's
do?
tons to do. This pan flute is. I haven't even scratched the surface on that one.
We'll have to have another podcast.
that was a silver flute that on both the songs we had here.
You'll have to bring one in next time that I have you on, because that'd be really. I've seen them, but I've never seen them, used, right?
I tell you what you do. Go down to Inner Harbor sometime, and there's always these guys who are real Peruvians down there, and they got about 4 of them. And the way they play them, the real dudes, like one guy plays 2 notes, and then the other guy plays 2 notes, and they make a melody where it's sort of like a bell choir.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, it's spiritual.
That's really cool. So, what's next for JC?
I'm gonna keep working on that Music for Vets thing. Oh, I'm working with a young lady. She's a songwriter. I'm a songwriter, Melissa Leonza. We just did a gig at Moondancer Winery Saturday. And we're going to continue putting stuff out. What we do is she has her songs.
You don't touch them, really.
I just add a little guitar to it, or sing a harmony to it. And then she'll do the same for me. Where so far it's working real nice. And then I have this other thing that I think maybe we did sort of mention it earlier, the neoclassical thing with Eric Eby and Pat White, where Eric's in charge of it. Eric picks the songs, and we do. I wish I would have brought some way of you hearing that, because
We can do that next time too.
Okay. I'm setting you up to get that.
Yeah. Part 2 comes in.
But that's a real soft, beautiful music where it's just bass, classical guitar, and flute. We don't sing anything. It's just that combination all throughout.
Do you have any shows coming up?
Actually at this moment, no.
So if you want to book JC.
Yeah, I'm available.
Well, you can find JC. You don't have a website or anything.
I have my Facebook page.
JC Fetlock. You can go over there. He is on Spotify. That link should be in the description. And if you want to check out all of that stuff, we'll find a link for the Music for Everyone veteran stuff and put that down there too.
Yeah,
because I want to research that a little bit.
Yeah,
more.
you should. I'm not.
That was
I don't know if "should's"
well.
the right word, but it would be interesting for you to find out more about that.
Yeah.
And Mary, I see you're listening. Tell us Tyrion's last name. This is a musician. I wish you would be.
Oh
aware
yeah,
of.
that's the hip hop guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you know already.
Tilly Mac, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to work. There are so many people I'm trying to get.
Yeah, I know. There's only so many hours in that. But if you know about him, that's really exciting. I think it's good to get what's going on right now with.
Oh yeah, with him, Sir Dominic Jordan.
Yeah,
so I've had him on. Yep.
Yeah.
I've had. I'm really getting into the hip hop scene around here because it's hopping and it's hipping.
And the spoken word thing.
And the spoken word thing. Yeah, right.
Nice.
So we're running out of time. It's been a pleasure to have you on, JC. I can't wait.
Is there any questions from anybody?
Nobody
wants to know anything.
I'm sorry, man.
Okay. guess-
People, you talk for an hour. People are like, what do I ask?
Yeah, he said it all.
said it all.
Good, man. Get
Well-
rid of that guy.
Well, it's been a pleasure having you on, man.
Thank you.
I'm excited
too.
to have you on next time and talk to you more about the jazz or the contemporary stuff and the Melissa Leanne's stuff and all that. Maybe you can give me something about that and the pan flute, the flute stuff, which we really didn't even dive into
Yeah.
all that much because there's so much technique there that we could just fly off into. Because I really want to know about that because you got a way around the flute with you. So with
Thank
that
you.
said,
Thank you.
you're welcome. With that said, I am Corey Rosen. This is the Story Podcast. You can find out more about me at CoreyRosenProductions.com. That's CORYROSEN Productions.com. Find out about my personal projects and the Story Podcast, all 100. You're number 140 of the
Nice.
episodes
That's my
so far.
second favorite number.
So you can check out all previous guests before that. This weekend, we have Zach Entman of the Spiders of Harrisburg, a band out of Harrisburg. They're coming over to talk to us. And then this Sunday, we have Cody Smith at 2 p.m. He is a local country artist around here. And then that night, they have Conrad Fisher's concert over in, I'm forgetting exactly where it is. He has a concert. He's a really cool guy, a Christian singer-songwriter. So if you're into that, please go check out Conrad Fisher. He's also up for a CPMA, so that's also cool. And then next Monday, we have Glenn Hollenbach. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. He's a great guitarist. He works with Stephanie Grace, and he works with a bunch of other artists in the area, and he's got his own stuff going on. So I'm excited to talk to him and get the details on all that. With all that said, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and we will see you guys later. Bye.